Question 1. Given the circumstances, Mr. Ramirez has deployed a multi-server Weblogic domain where the administration server is hosted on one physical machine and multiple managed servers are on different machines. He notices the managed servers fail to start remotely via Node Manager. What should Mr. Ramirez verify first to resolve the issue? A. That Node Manager is properly configured and running on each physical machine hosting managed servers. B. That the administration server is configured to start automatically on machine reboot. C. That the domain's config XML file includes the admin server's IP address. D. That the managed servers are manually started from the administration console only. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Node Manager is essential for remotely controlling managed servers, allowing start, stop, and restart operations independent of the admin server's state. If managed servers fail to start remotely, the primary step is to confirm Node Manager is correctly installed, configured, and running on each host machine where managed servers reside. Without this, the admin server cannot remotely initiate managed servers. Options involving the admin server's startup or config XMLP settings do not directly impact Node Manager's ability to manage servers remotely. Manual starts from the console are fallback, not resolution for Node Manager failures. Question 2. In the context of Weblogic clustering, ISING wants to ensure session data consistency across multiple managed servers in a cluster during failover. Which mechanism should she configure? A. DC connection pooling BHCP, session replication C. AMS server migration D. Blur script automation. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Although HTTP session replication directly handles web session state failover, the question focuses on overall session data consistency at cluster level failover, especially for JMS or JTA services, which are supported by server migration features. JMS server migration ensures message-driven components failover between cluster nodes, maintaining set DC pooling manages database connect, unrelated to session state fail delay in automation tool not a session replication mechanism. Question 3. When considering domain creation in Weblogic server, Mr. Thompson needs to create multiple similar environments efficiently. What is the best approach to achieve this? A. Manually configure each domain from scratch through the administration console. B. Use domain templates to create and extend domain configurations. C. Apply offline and scripting exclusively for all configurations. D. Copy an existing domain's config XML file to new servers. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Using domain templates is the best practice for creating and extending domains systematically, enabling standardized, repeatable domain creation across environments. Copying config XML files directly is risky and prone to errors as it may contain server-specific settings. Manual configuration is tedious and error-prone, although flit and scripting is powerful, but typically complements templates rather than replaces them entirely. Hence, domain templates provide a controlled, efficient baseline for domain creation. Question 4. Through the lens of Weblogic security, Is Patel wants to assign permissions to a group of users so they can deploy applications but not manage servers. What is the recommended best practice to achieve this? A. Add users to the administrators group. B. Assign the deployment manager role to the group. C. Create a custom security role with deployment permissions and assign it to the group. D. Grant direct file system access to the application binaries. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. The principle of least privilege dictates granting only necessary permissions. Creating a custom security role scoped specifically for deployment tasks allows fine-grained control and avoids overly broad privileges. Assigning users to administrators grants full control, violating least privilege. The deployment manager role does not exist as a default role. File system access is unrelated to Weblogic secure realm and doesn't control deployment permissions within Weblogic. Question 5. Based on the information ISTLE configured a cluster but observes no traffic distribution among managed servers, what might be the root cause? A. The cluster communication is set to multicast mode, but the network does not support multicast. B. The administration server is not running. C. Managed servers are configured with different domain names. D. DC connection pools are not configured on the cluster. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. For load balancing and cluster communication to function, the administration server must be up and running as it manages cluster configuration propagation. Multicast settings can cause issues but would typically prevent cluster formation rather than traffic distribution. Different domain names would prevent clustering altogether, but that would cause more fundamental failure. ADC pools do not affect traffic routing or balancing directly. Question 6. During the process of configuring SSL for Weblogic, Chen realizes a key store is not being recognized during server startup. What is a common misconfiguration that causes this? A. Incorrect machine assignment to the managed server. B. Missing or incorrect key store path or password in the server's SSL configuration. C. Node manager is not running. D. The cluster multicast address is duplicated. Answer. Correct answer, D. Explanation. SSL configuration issues typically stem from missing or wrong key store file paths or passwords in the server's SSL setup, preventing the server from loading certificates at startup. Node manager status or machine assignments don't affect SSL key store recognition. Cluster multicast address conflicts cause communication issues, not SSL key store loading failures, hence verifying SSL configuration entry. Question 7. Within the framework of Weblogic's config XML, Stagarcia needs to make domain-wide configuration change without restarting the domain. Which procedure should he follow? A. Edit the config XML directly on disk and restart all servers immediately. B. Use the administration console to lock the configuration, make changes, activate them, and the server applies changes dynamically. C. Stop the administration server, edit config XML, then start the domain. D. You blow your fly in a scripting to modify config XML and then restart managed servers. Answer. Correct answer, D. Explanation. The correct practice is to lay in offline mode to edit config XML safely, followed by a controlled restart of managed servers to apply changes. Direct editing of config XML is discouraged because it risks corruption and inconsistencies. The administration console's lock edit activate workflow applies many changes dynamically, but some domain-wide changes require server restart. Stopping the admin server for edits is risky and not standard practice. Question 8. Considering the evidence, Hassan wants to automate starting multiple managed servers on different machines after a system reboot. What setup ensures automated startup using Node Manager? A. Configure Node Manager on each machine to start automatically as a system service. B. Use script to manually start servers after login. C. Assign managed servers to the same machine as the admin server for automatic startup. D. Use the administration console to manually start each managed server. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. For automated startup post-reboot, Node Manager must be installed and configured as a system service on each host machine. This allows it to launch managed servers independently of user logins. Assigning managed servers to the same machine as the admin server doesn't guarantee automated startup without Node Manager, as a server deploy and console manual starts require user interaction and do not automation. Question 9. Illustrated by Weblogic's logging mechanism is Morgan observes large log files are causing disk space issues. What is the best approach to manage this situation? A. Disable server logging to conserve disk space. B. Configure log rotation and set size limits in the server's logging settings. C. Delete log files manually while the server is running. D. Move the domain directory to larger disk without changing log settings. Answer. Correct answer, D. Explanation. The best practice to manage large log files is configuring log rotation policies and size limits within Weblogic, ensuring logs archive and rotate systematically, disabling logging risks, losing critical diagnostic data, manually deleting logs while the server is active can cause file corruption. Simply moving the domain directory does not solve the root cause of uncontrolled log growth. Question 10. In summary of Weblogic Server's Work Manager feature, Mr. Evans wants to prioritize requests for critical application during peak load. Which configuration should he implement? A. Assign Work Manager with high priority request class to the application. B. Increase JVM heap size for the managed server. C. Configure JDC connection pool max capacity higher. D. Use the administration console to disable lower priority applications. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Work managers allow fine-grained control over request prioritization by defining request classes and constraints. Assigning a high-priority work manager to the critical app is the correct method. Increasing JVM heap size enhances overall memory, but does not prioritize requests. DDC poor capacity affects database connections unrelated to work request priority. Disabling apps is an extreme measure, not a sustainable prioritization strategy. Question 11. In light of recent developments, is Davis configures a Weblogic domain with multiple managed servers, each assigned to different logical machines. She wants to ensure high availability even if one physical host fails. What should she do to achieve this? A. Configure server migration for managed servers so they can restart on other machines automatically. B. Enable JMS persistent messaging on the administration server only. C. Assign all managed servers to the same machine for easier management. D. Use a single cluster multicast address shared by all domains. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Assigning all managed servers to the same machine concentrates risk and reduces availability, so it's incorrect. To achieve high availability in multi-machine environments, configuring server migration is essential so managed servers can restart on other physical machines upon failure. JMS persistence on the admin server alone does not guarantee server failover. Using multicast address shared by multiple domains causes cluster communication conflicts. Therefore, proper migration setup across logical machines is the right approach. Question 12. Among the various tasks Mr. Kim performs, he needs to automate repetitive administrative operations without manual intervention. What tool should he primarily use? A. Administration console. AA. Scripting tool. C. Start manage Weblogic. Script only. D. Direct editing of config. XML. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. The Weblogic scripting tableau is designed for automation and scripting administrative tasks in both online and offline modes, making it the ideal choice for repetitive automation. The administration console is GUI-based and not suitable for automation. Startup scripts control server lifecycle but not administrative tasks. Editing config. XML manually is risky and does not provide automation capabilities. Question 13. Based on the information, Mr. Gupta notices that the administration console is not reflecting some recent configuration changes. What is the most probable cause? A. Changes were made in a different domains config XML file. B. The changes were made but not activated after using the lock and edit mode. C. The administration server has crashed. D. The managed servers have been restarted. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. If the administration server has crashed, the console will not show updated configurations as it depends on the admin server's availability. Changes made but not activated will not be committed, but typically the console still shows the pending changes state, changes to different domains config. XML would not affect this console. Restarting managed servers does not affect the admin console's display of configuration. Question 14. During the process of deployment, Martinez wants to externalize application configurations so the same application archive can be deployed across development, testing, and production environments with different settings. What feature should she use? A. Deployment plans. B. DDC connection ports. C. Delay offline mode. D. Work managers. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Work managers are used to prioritize requests and manage performance, not for deployment configuration. Deployment plans allow externalizing and overriding application deployment descriptors, enabling the same archive to be deployed in multiple environments with different configuration. DDC connection pools manage database connections but don't externalize application config. Delay offline mode edits configs but is unrelated to application deployment externalization. Question 15. When analyzing domain startup, Mr. Allen notices that the Start Manager Weblogic script fails to start a managed server on a remote machine. What is the most likely cause? A. Node manager on the remote machine is not running or unreachable. B. The administration server is down on the local machine. C. The domains config XML is corrupt. D. The machine does not have enough disk space. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. The Start Manage Weblogic script uses Node Manager to start managed servers remotely. If Node Manager is not running or not reachable, the script cannot complete its operation. While the admin server being down affects other functionalities, it does not directly block this script config. XML corruption would cause domain-wide issues, not isolated start script failures. Disk space issues can cause startup failures, but are less likely to cause immediate script failure. Question 16. With respect to Weblogic server's JDC connection pools, Mr. Evans needs to optimize database connection management under high user load. Which practice should he prioritize? A. Increasing the initial capacity without setting max capacity limit. B. Setting appropriate minute and max capacity with connection leak profiling enabled. C. Disabling connection testing for better performance. D. Using only single global connection pool for all applications. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Properly configuring minute and max capacity ensures optimal resource usage. Enabling connection leak profiling helps identify and resolve connection leaks, which improves stability under high load. Increasing initial capacity without max limits can exhaust DB resources. Disabling connection testing risks handing out stale connections. Using a single global pool may create contention. It's better to configure based on application needs. Question 17. To what extent does configuring a Weblogic security realm impact user authentication and authorization? A. It only stores users but does not enforce policies. B. It defines the entire security infrastructure including providers, roles, and policies managing access control. C. It is used only for SSL certificate management. D. It manages database connection credentials only. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. The security realm is the core security infrastructure for Weblogic server managing authentication providers, users groups, authorization policies, and role mappings. It enforces access control and security policies for all domain resources. It is not limited to SSL certificates, which are handled separately via key stores. It also does not solely manage DB credentials, but can be integrated with CRID mapping. Thus, it is critical to secure users and resource access. Question 18. In a modern context of clustering, Zhang wants to configure cluster communication in an environment where multicast is disabled by network policy. Which mode should she choose? A. Unicast mode. B. Multicast mode with fallback to unicast. C. Direct socket connections. D. Administration server communication mode. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. When multicast is disabled or unsupported, Weblogic clustering must use unicast mode for cluster communication. Unicast sends messages directly to each cluster member's IP address, ensuring cluster membership and communication without multicast network dependency. Multicast mode with fallback is not standard Weblogic feature. Direct socket connections is vague and not configuration mode. The admin communication mode relates to administration, not cluster communication. Question 19. As demonstrated by recent troubleshooting cases, what is a primary indicator in a thread dump that Weblogic server is experiencing thread contention or deadlock? A. Threads stuck in socket read operations. B. Multiple threads waiting indefinitely on the same lock monitor. C. High JVM heap usage. D. Increased log file size. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Thread dump show thread states and stack traces. Multiple threads waiting indefinitely on the same lock monitor with no progress indicate thread contention or deadlock causing performance degradation or server hang. Socket reads can be blocking but not necessarily deadlock. JVM heap usage relates to memory, not threading. Log file size is unrelated to thread contention. Question 20. Under the assumption that a managed server has become unresponsive, what is the safest way to restart it to avoid data loss or corruption? A. Force kill the managed server process immediately. B. Use the administration console to gracefully shut down and then restart the managed server. C. Restart the entire domain to force managed server restart. D. Delete the server logs and restart. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. While force killing is sometimes necessary, it risks data loss. The safest approach is to use the administration console's graceful shutdown, allowing sessions and transactions to complete before stopping. Restarting the entire domain is disruptive and often unnecessary. Deleting logs has no effect on server state or recovery. Therefore, graceful shutdown restart via admin console or AE is preferred. Question 21. By evaluating the recent performance of his Weblogic domain, Mr. O'Connor notices long response times during peak hours. He suspects thread starvation. What is the most effective Weblogic feature he should configure to address this issue? A. EDC connection pool tuning. B. Work managers with proper request classes and constraint. C. Increasing JVM heap size. D. SSL floating on the load balancer. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Thread starvation occurs when there are insufficient threads to process incoming requests, leading to delays. Work managers are specifically designed to prioritize and manage thread allocation effectively, making them the best tool to address thread contention. JDC tuning and JVM heap sizing affect other performance aspects but not direct thread starvation. SSL floating reduces CPU overhead but does not solve thread resource management internally. Question 22. In the context of configuring a new Weblogic domain, is Rivera wants to apply standardized settings across all environments while allowing for environment-specific customizations. Which method best supports this requirement? A. Use a single domain config, XML for all environments. B. Employ domain templates combined with deployment plans for environment-specific overrides. C. Manually edit server start scripts per environment. D. Deploy scripts only to configure each domain from scratch. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Domain templates provide reusable baselines for creating domains, while deployment plans allow externalizing application configurations for different environments using a single config. XML across environments is not practical as it lacks flexibility and risks environment conflicts. Manually editing scripts is error-prone and inconsistently is useful but less maintainable compared to leveraging templates and deployment plans. Question 23. During a critical application deployment, Istanu uses the administration console but notices the deployment status shows failed. Which step should he take to diagnose the root cause effectively? A. Immediately redeploy the application without changes. B. Review the server and domain logs for classnet found exception or related errors. C. Restart the administration server to clear stale cache. D. Disable security policies temporarily during deployment. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. The first and most reliable step is to review server and domain logs carefully for detailed error messages like classnet found exception, deployment descriptor issues, or permission problems, which help identify the cause. Redeploying blindly wastes time. Restarting admin server rarely fixes deployment errors, and disabling security policies risks domain security integrity and is not recommended. Question 24. From the perspective of Weblogic's logging capabilities, is Lopez wants to enable fine-grained logging for particular subsystem only without affecting overall server performance. What approach should she use? A. Increase the global log file size limit. B. Enable debug logging globally for all servers. C. Configure log filters or diagnostic modules for targeted components. D. Disable log rotation to prevent log loss. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Debug logging globally impacts performance negatively by logging excessive detail for all subsystems. Instead, configuring log filters or diagnostic modules lets you capture detailed logs, selectively minimizing overhead and improving troubleshooting effectiveness. Increasing log file size does not affect granularity. Disabling log rotation risks disk space exhaustion. Question 25. Under the assumption that a managed server's startup fails with no clear error, is Clark suspects configuration conflicts? Which Weblogic feature can help detect and resolve such conflicts? A. Weblogic offline mode to validate domain configuration. B. Restarting the node manager. C. Manually editing config. XML to remove managed server entries. D. Increasing the server's JVM heap size. Answer. Correct answer: A. Explanation. Offline mode allows administrators to script and validate domain configurations, detecting conflicts or invalid settings before server startup, which helps avoid runtime failures. Restarting Node Manager doesn't validate configurations. Editing config XML manually is risky and may cause more problems. JVM heap size adjustments don't solve config conflicts. Question 26. Within the framework of Weblogic cluster communication, ISTA-Sing needs to troubleshoot intermittent cluster member failures. What is the common network-related cause you should investigate first? A. Node Manager service not running on cluster members. B. Network devices blocking multicast traffic if multicast mode is used. C. Misconfigured ADC connection pools. D. Incorrect Java application deployment descriptors. Answer. Correct answer: C. Explanation. Network interruptions impacting multicast traffic are a common cause of cluster member communication failure when multicast is used, making this the first point of investigation. Node Manager issues affect server lifecycle, not cluster comm. ADC pools and deployment descriptors impact application performance or deployment but do not cause cluster communication failures. Question 27. Demonstrated by is Alvarez's configuration, which Weblogic server startup script should be customized when she wants to set environment variables for managed servers process. A. Start Weblogic. B. Set domain in. C. Start manage Weblogic. D. Node Manager properties. Answer. Correct answer: C. Explanation. The start manage Weblogic script is specifically used to start managed servers and is the right place to customize environment variables affecting only managed server processes. Start Weblogic controls admin server startup, set domain in, sets domain-wide environment variables, but is less targeted. Node Manager properties configures Node Manager and is unrelated to server environment variables. Question 20. To what degree does using deployment plans improve application lifecycle management in Weblogic Server? A. They allow dynamic recompilation of applications at runtime. B. They externalize environment-specific deployment descriptors, enabling consistent deployment across environments. C. They enable server clustering configurations to be changed on the fly. D. They provide automated rollback for failed deployments. Answer. Correct answer: A. Explanation. Deployment plans do not facilitate dynamic recompilation. Their main purpose is to externalize and override deployment descriptor settings per environment without modifying the application archive, enabling consistent deployments. Clustering configuration changes and automated rollback are managed by other Weblogic features, not deployment plans. Question 29. Considering the evidence from domain backup best practices, Ista Fernandez wants to minimize downtime during domain recovery. What backup method should he choose? A. Offline backup by copying the entire domain directory when servers are stopped. B. Online backup using Node Manager commands to copy config XML only. C. Online backup BLA scripts to export domain configuration and application deployments while servers are running. D. Periodic deletion of old log files to save space. Answer. Correct answer: B. Explanation. Offline backups guarantee consistency but cause downtime because servers must be stopped. Online backups should alert export configurations while running. Servers minimize downtime and enable partial recovery, but require precise execution. Node Manager does not provide backup capabilities. Deleting logs is maintenance, not backup. Question 30. The primary reason for enabling SSL in Weblogic Server is to A. Increase server startup speed. B. Secure communication between clients and servers by encrypting data traffic. C. Allow clustering across different domains. D. Enable ADC connection pooling. Answer. Correct answer: B. Explanation. SSL secure sockets layer provides encryption and authentication for data in transit between clients and Weblogic servers, preventing eavesdropping and tampering. It does not affect startup speed, clustering across domain, or DC pooling, which are unrelated functions.